Hi, I'm Susan Odell. Welcome to the Foodell Kitchen. Gadgets. There are a million of them. Some you need, some you probably don't need, and some are just fun to have. Today, let's look at what you need to make yourself efficient in the kitchen. First of all, you need a kitchen timer, preferably one that when you turn it off, it tells you how long you had it set for in the first place. So you know that it was 10 minutes, you can add another 5 to it to make it a total of 15. You also need a grater. This is a box grater. I like that because I can grate my cheese or whatever else and all comes down in the middle and it kind of is self-contained. It also has a bunch of different size holes on it, so it makes it convenient to use for a lot of different things. Another tool that's also a grater, but it's called a Microplane. This is really good for hard cheeses. It's very sharp. It works perfectly for Parmigiano Reggiano. Also works well to take the zest off of citrus fruits and for grating ginger. You've got to have a vegetable peeler because I know you're going to eat your veggies out there. So this is the preferred one that I like. There's so many different sizes, shapes. Go to the store, pick one up, try it out with your hand and see which one you like best. Kitchen scissors. You've got to have a good pair of kitchen shears. These are the most abused piece of equipment in my kitchen. I use them for anything from cutting out a coupon in the paper to snipping off string to truss my chickens to whatever else I need them for. Good sharp pair is important. I have a juicer. You've got to have something that gets that nice fresh juice out of your lemons and limes. This has a big thick side probably for oranges and a thinner side for your smaller fruits. And the juice is nicely captured right in the bottom of the bowl. But any juicer works. You just need something to make sure you get all that juice out of there. I also have a couple of brushes. This is a really hard brush that if you can, try not to avoid scraping your pots and pans with it. It's really for potatoes and things like that. It's for hard vegetables and things that you're going to be cooking that you want to get the eyes out of the potatoes or some dirt off of. So you need a good food brush. A garlic press. This is a very, very commonly used item in my kitchen. Make sure you get one that's easy to press, it's not too big for your hand, and one that cleans easily, and then you'll use it all the time. This is a fine mesh sieve. It's very, very fine, small holes so that when I'm pouring in a sauce that I want to strain out herbs from or anything like that, maybe a custard, I want to get my cooked egg bits in the top and only have beautiful custard, you always need a fine mesh sieve in your kitchen, in addition to a regular colander that you're probably going to use to wash vegetables and drain pasta into. Potato masher, good old-fashioned variety, nothing fancy about that. You need some thermometers. You don't need 3. I have 3. I have a regular meat thermometer that you can stick in your roast while it cooks. I have an instant read thermometer that, voila, you just put it in your whatever you're testing and it tells you immediately what the temperature is. And I just bought a really fancy one. It's digital and it's infrared. So when you're measuring liquids, you just point and shoot and it tells you what the temperature is. Beautiful thermometer. Not necessarily the first thing you need to spend your hard-earned money on for the kitchen. You also need some brushes. These are for pastry brushes. This is for putting a marinade on something. This is for brushing egg wash on a pastry that you're making. You need a brush or two. This is a silicone one. I know I'm not going to get little brush hairs in my food if I use a good silicone brush. It also can withstand the heat really well. You need a funnel for all of your funneling needs when you're pouring things from a big jar into a small jar. You probably need a baster. This is when you're cooking a turkey. You got to get those juices up out of the pan and then squirt it right back onto your meat. You probably need a mallet. This is going to tenderize your meat on one side and flatten out your chicken breasts and things like that on the other. You've got to have a rolling pin. Everybody needs a rolling pin. This is a vintage rolling pin that I will never part with. I love this. You can get all kinds of fancy models today, but whatever's your favorite, go for it. You also need a piping bag, and this I use for both savory and sweet dishes if I'm piping cookies or making frosting, but I also use it sometimes for just making the mashed potatoes look pretty on the plate. There's a lot of other uses, and we'll be using these in some of the recipes that we'll be demonstrating later too. And finally, I have my salad spinner. I love this thing. I wash all of my herbs in here. You just put it in, you give it a spin, and voila, you've got beautifully washed fresh greens or herbs, and they're also pretty dry too because it gets rid of most of the excess water clinging to it. So if you came to the Foodell Kitchen and opened up the drawers, you'd probably find a few more gadgets than the ones I showed you today. That's because I've collected hundreds over the course of my culinary career, and you probably will too. Find what you like, but at least start with what I've shown you. These are the basics, and these will get you through just about any recipe you're going to tackle. Bon appetit! Fast.